Now let's move through the community board reports, then we'll break for lunch, then we'll come back and do the Part A's and the public excluded agenda this afternoon. So the Spreydon-Cashmere Community Board, the Waihoro Spreydon-Cashmere Community Board, your report to council, and apologies for keeping you waiting. I think if it's fair to say that if I'd realised that last item was going to take so long, we would have done things quite differently. So Carolyn, welcome to the table, and also noting that Melanie was here, but I'm guessing is needed to leave.
Kia ora. It's not so much the Part A's that are the problem, it's the reasons for people leaving, asking to go ahead of us, because we were first up today, and so Melanie came expecting to be first up, and the reasons for other people leaving is usually business, whereas my reason for wanting to be first up and leaving straight away was to see the EastEnders on television. And I don't know which you could rate more important than that, business or not. And secondly, I'd like to address the issue of Sam arguing that because Fendleton forks out more money, they should have some traffic lights. Well, let me say that the Spreydon-Cashmere Community Board contributes more happiness to the wealth of the city in terms of our wonderful highlands and our beautiful Spreydon lowlands, and that and if we are rating anything, we should be rating happiness ahead of the loot that can be extracted from the denizens of Fendleton. Okay, we've got no Part A, and I'm only going to take about 2 minutes. Can you... And I asked Emma if she'd like to come up, but she pointed out there was another Part A and there's only so many of them that you can stand. We had the Quarryman's Trail opening, and this is the entranceway where the houses were bought, restoring what had been 20 years ago a road back to where it was. Along Roker Street there, where Paul Despar, and some of you will remember him because he was a great bike advocate, lives. He lives on Roker Street, and that was the most controversial part. We had a wonderful potpourri and celebration at Whānau Tahi. That's my pronunciation, you see, I have to have grace. Including singing, and we New Zealanders don't sing anymore. So it was a wonderful, wonderful celebration, and we were thrilled to be there. I did wonder while we were at this celebration, where Pauline had asked for our community board to be represented at the celebration, and thank you to her for that, because it was great to be there. I did wonder while we were there why we aren't talking more to the children in terms of these openings of cycleways, and why we aren't engaging with them, because if we're going to change the habits of our citizens, this week without cars, because the school holidays are on, has been bliss. And if we want to continue with that, we need these guys on the roads on bikes instead of sitting in cars being taken to school. So I just wondered if we could think about how we could engage with youth a little bit more than we do on this issue. Second thing, bank stabilisation continues in our ward, and they're doing great things, the drainage engineers. It's always wonderful to see them. This is Eastern Terrace and Palatine. To be fair, Eastern Terrace residents are used to being flooded, and they are flooded every year. It'll be very interesting to see what changes this widening of the upper reaches of the banks to restore them to a little bit of the way the river used to look, changes in terms of Eastern Terrace, because Eastern Terrace has always been flooded. The residents are used to being flooded, though not as much as they have been since the earthquakes. This is our Community Neighbourhood Week locations. I think everybody should do this on their Neighbourhood Week. Look to where the applications have come from and where the money's going. And it's enlightening for us to see the people who are used to applying for funding and understand how to do it and where to go and how to get it, and those areas of our wards that don't apply for the funding and are not receiving their small amount of donations towards a family and neighbourhood celebration. We'll be looking at this just to see if we can address the obvious lack of understanding or knowledge of a little bit of money being available during Neighbourhood Week, which is this year going to be Neighbourhood Summer. And and have a look at Spreydon and Hoon Hay and other areas in our wards to see if they'd like to apply. And this is our beautiful, wonderful park opening. This was the park where the staff, because of our board's interest in disability issues, emphasised disability access, though it doesn't look like it with that there. And you can't really see it during the photographs of people, but this park is a disability accessible park and is wonderful. And the staff and the designers did such good things here. They put different textures of soil and sounds even underneath the people's feet in this park, so that the kids who might be blind or sensory deficient can feel the differences underneath their feet and the textures of what's been underneath some of the playground things. But as well as that, they put that boulder up there, and the kids did some really dangerous things on it, which was a thrill to watch. And that was the Superheroes Picnic. And that is us. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Carolyn. Are there any questions for Carolyn? No? All right. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.